the new raspberry families, the Salmon berries, the chef raspberries, and the Schlaraffia raspberries.
Welcome to Gardeners Radio by Lubera Edibles, the podcast for professional gardeners. We are talking about edible plants.
So we have a lot of new families in our raspberry assortment at Lubera Edibles, and one of the reasons of this podcast, Gardeners Radio, is to propose you new varieties, but also how to market them. And one of the way to make it easier to market our raspberry varieties is to market them by families. Because in these families we have also stories, we have USPs, we try to have different usages in a garden situation, and about this we are talking in this Gardeners Radio podcast. My guest today is Frederik Vollert. You can present yourself.
Yeah. My name is Frederik Vollert, and I work at Lubera Edibles, and there I'm responsible for product development.
And I'm Markus Kobelt. I'm founder of Lubera and co-founder of Lubera Edibles, together with my friend Rupert Meyer. And it's good that we both sit here. I'm a little bit everywhere at Lubera, but I'm especially at the beginning and at the end. At the beginning, in the breeding, I'm involved in breeding together with our breeder Moritz, and in the end, in marketing. You are bringing the plant from one end to the other. So because your job is to look at our breeding and to decide together with the team which varieties we are bringing to Lubera Edibles, and then to our professional gardener customers all over Europe and UK, because this seems to be not the same thing anymore. Yep. Yes.
So
let's start. Yeah.
In the intro, you told about different raspberry groups, and at Lubera Edibles we have more than 50 varieties in production and selling, and you are a raspberry breeder for home garden raspberry varieties. So do you think there are too many varieties on the market? Do we
Perhaps not on the market, but in our assortment are too many varieties. Yes. In the end, raspberry is the most important shrubberry, or whatever you are saying, if we want to have a difference between strawberries and the shrubberries. So it's the most important plant. It's millions of plants we are selling in Europe for the home garden plant. I think we can say it's between 3 and 4 million plants we sold last year into the home garden market, and next year it will be much more. So it's really a huge, and for this amount there can be many varieties, but 50 is too many. So in the future, that I can say here for sure, we will thin out a little bit, and we will thin out more in the old varieties than in the new varieties. And the reason is not that I don't like the old varieties. The reason is the new ones are better. I'm looking now over almost 15 to 20 years raspberry breeding. I started about 15, 20 years ago with a big cross of Tulamine and Autumn Bliss. One of the results was Sugana. And if I look back at this time, and if I look back at the generation of older varieties, we are talking now because most of the old varieties in our assortment are much older, are 30, 40 years on, the progress in breeding is fantastic. Size-wise, quality-wise, our best autumn raspberries are now really as good as the very best summer raspberries, perhaps even better. Thornlessness, crop, earliness, different sizes of plants. Mm-hmm. So the progress is so big. We have to look at the newer varieties, and we have to thin out a little bit the older ones. And in the newer varieties, we want to structure a little bit these many varieties, that you have more choices when you are deciding for your marketing, which young plants you want to grow to finished young plants for your customers, for the chain store, for the garden center, for the internet retailer. You can decide which of our offers you are using for your USP, for your assortment of raspberries in your professional garden production.
So you think we even need new raspberry varieties?
Yeah, of course. Otherwise, I would have a problem. No, but the progress is really so big. Perhaps from one year to another, you don't see it. But I see it now. Becoming older is a good thing. You see the difference. And you can remember the difference. And no, it's not that I think the old days are much better. In plant-wise, they are not. And the progress in raspberry, as in many crops, is huge if you look close at it. And that's the reason I think the new varieties are important. But we cannot only add new varieties one after another every year, 3, 4, 5. We have to give also marketing concepts, ideas. And one of these marketing concepts are families. So that's the reason we have families. Can you please try, Frederik, to explain a little bit the concept? There it is not really an artificial concept, it's a botanical concept of the salmon berries.
Yeah. Salmon berries, the botanical name of the salmon berries is Rubus spectabilis. The origin of these species are in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And the benefits of these varieties are they have pink flowers. There is a single flower, single flowering variety, and also not double. It's very filled. It's
like an English rose,
like in the flower of the salmon berry variety Olympic double looks very similar to an English rose.
To a small English rose.
Yeah, it's the shape, not the size. Yeah. I have to say. And the fruit, the color of the fruit is like in deep yellow, orange, or maybe an apricot with some kind of pink inside. From this year, you could imagine that the English name salmonberry came from the color of the fruits, but that isn't. The English name salmonberry based on the
coincidence of time. It's the same time when the salmons come back to the Columbia River in the end.
When the salmon arrived in the river, the salmonberry shrubs at the side of the river were fruiting. And so the Indians picked the fruits and also fished the salmons out of the river.
It's coincidence of time, yeah.
And from this, the natural growth at the side of the river also mean that salmon berries could grow better in more wet or more moist ground, more soil, where normal raspberries do not really grow very well.
We have seen in our North German side, we had a test planting there with raspberries on a site which was too wet. After 2-3 years, all raspberries were dead besides salmonberry.
Yeah.
So it's really much better in a you can plant it in a wetter soil where you wouldn't be successful with any other raspberries. So that's an advantage. More advantages?
More advantages. When you taste the fruits, it's they have like crunchy taste. It's not because of the fruit. It's just because of the stone inside the single droplets. But it's not.
Not unpleasant.
It's not unpleasant. It's a very nice taste, and you think it's like crispy fruits. I think that was the most important thing.
So we have the USPs of salmon berries are the ornamental character, the short time between flowering and fruiting, the shrub character also, and that they you can plant them in wetter soil than all others, and the crunchy texture, you could say, of the fruit.
So, and in the beginning, you told us about chef raspberries. What are chef raspberries?
Yes, I know from the German version of this of this podcast that you were thinking that you have enough bosses now, but it's the English chef, it's the cooking chef, and raspberries have many attributes. Everything has many attributes. And sometimes it's interesting to concentrate on one attribute. And we decided that one of the most important attributes in raspberries is aroma. And so we decided to make a group where we are concentrating on the aromatic raspberries, the chef raspberries. And one of the two newest varieties, autumn chef and summer chef, which have really an outstanding fruit quality, which is both high sugar, high acidity, and high aroma. Some of this aroma is more a positive aftertaste. It's more a perfume, perhaps through the nose, than really an aroma, and it's just fantastic. And this is really raspberry aroma of these two varieties. And of course, in the future, we will add perhaps more, also other colored raspberries in this group, but it will be always 100% about quality, fruit quality. And then we have a third group, Schlaraffia group. Can you explain the Schlaraffia group?
Yeah, the name Schlaraffia, based on the English, on the German word Schlaraffenland. To describe it in English, is the land where milk and honey.
Paradise now.
The paradise. So it's a unique group in the raspberries. It's don't think that any other breeders have this type of varieties. I don't think so.
Not for the moment.
Not for the moment. So to describe what Schlaraffia means is I have to describe what other groups we have. On the one hand, we have the compact lowberries, suitable for container growing, for patio, for balcony, maybe also planted out in the
lowberry raspberries.
Lowberry raspberries. They don't bring the big yield. They have very tasty fruits. You can pick it and nibble it, but you don't get a very high yield. And on the other hand, you have we call it normal primocane raspberries. They are growing both 1.7 meters. They have a high yield, but also they are very vigorous in growing. So, and just in the middle of these two groups are the Schlaraffia. Schlaraffia varieties are also primocane varieties. They are totally without spines, and they are not growing higher than 1 meter and 50. The end height of the varieties are between 1 meter 20 and 1 meter 50. So just very easy for handle and also for picking fruit. No spines, and just in the high of the hands, of just easy for picking. And another aspect of these
growing into your mouth.
Yeah,
that's Schlaraffia.
And the other aspect is they have a very strong upright growth, and the shoots are very stable. So you don't need any construction to help them grow upright. They just from the normal attribute of the normal growth of these varieties are strong, upright with stable canes. So you can of course plant it in a row, just like a normal raspberry culture, but you also can use these plants maybe in group of 3 in an informal planting in a flower shrub hedge, or also in the middle of a rose bed. So I think there's a lot of places are possible for informal planting of these fruits, and they bring a very high yield. It's very similar to the prime berries, primary group, the high yielding, strong growing varieties. So you have a more compact, not a very very compact rose. It's a more compact rose, upright canes, and also a very high yield.
Yes, very good. I think if you look at the 3 groups, you can make it even shorter. So we have the ornamental raspberries, which you can plant almost everywhere, the salmon berries. Then you have in the chef raspberries, it's all about quality, fruit quality, and Schlaraffia raspberries are the ones you are not working for the raspberries. The raspberries are working for you. Yeah, raspberries in the garden are not so easy normally, but these are easy. You are planting informal in a mixed border, and you just pick. So that's Schlaraffia raspberries.
Yeah. And so in all these groups, raspberry groups, a lot of raspberry varieties, do you have a special variety do you like most? Or so you are a breeder, you bring a lot of varieties on the market, not only in raspberries, but do you have a special single variety you like most?
Yeah, I'm very happy about the Schlaraffia raspberries, and they're especially about Plentiful, because Plentiful has a huge crop, good quality, huge crop, middle size, but a huge crop. I never saw so many raspberries in such a small place, volume. So that's really, and that's also something we are using for further breeding. So that's interesting. That's for the moment one of my favorite varieties. And yours? What is your favorite?
In these 3 groups, I have 2 different varieties I like a lot. The first is the salmon berry double. No,
the Olympic double.
Olympic double.
Yeah.
I really like these bright pink flowers.
Yeah, they are fantastic. Yeah.
And on the other hand, the other variety I very like is Autumn Chef. It's just it's easy handling primocane variety, and the taste is a taste. So
Yeah,
don't have to say more.
Yeah, yeah.
And Markus said it, you're a raspberry breeder.
Yeah.
How do you see the future of raspberries?
As I've said, becoming older, things sometimes are also becoming easier because you see the difference. I see the difference 20 years before and now. And if I take the same, there is no reason to think that it will not be the same development in the future. That's just fantastic what we can do with raspberries. To be a little bit more, and it's fantastic when you have the same type of breeding as we are doing. We are breeding primary for the home garden market. So everything is interesting. We don't have to look at varieties with 8 grams, which you can store for 2 months. That's not our goal. We like easy growing plants, easy picking plants, good fruit quality, new tastes, and new architectures also of plants. That's what we are working for, and there are huge possibilities. We think one of the goals will be below 1 meter varieties or below 50 centimeters varieties. Till now, we have not really good varieties there. We have some, you remember two varieties this year, they were fantastic, 50 centimeters, full of small fruits, but
very sour. So it wasn't a pleasure to taste. It was.
So I was happy. It was two sisters, two varieties, the same cross, and both the same. So very, very sour. And I always had, and I hope next week perhaps. It was always too sour. So it will not be a product, it will not be a variety. But this is one direction. Then colors. We are very hopeful to have in the future orange varieties, although the compact ones, perhaps also in the low berries. Remember the selections. I'm very bullish for the Rubus occidentalis crosses, where we crossed in black American raspberry because they have such an interesting exotic aroma. I think you like it also.
I very like it.
And there we have many possibilities. We have even yellow varieties now with the same, perhaps small ones, but with the same taste. So I think that's a little bit the future. And so many we have more. We are working for more ornamental varieties with different types of ornament. It could be the flower. It could also be other things. Sometimes fruits are looking more than flowers. That's a certain gene, and could be interesting for ornamental raspberries. So many possibilities we are looking forward to.
Yeah, thank you, Markus, for your time, and
you also for your time
and for explaining us all the interesting things about raspberries. Yeah, and I hope you like our podcast, and if you like it, also listen to our next podcast. It's a gardener's talk about the container production of red, white, and also black currants. So thank you for listening, and keep on growing.
Have a fruitful day. Thanks for hearing Gardeners Radio by Lubera Edibles. You find us on every platform for podcasts, Spotify, Apple, and of course on our website www.luberaedibles.com. Go on gardening.